Chamber of Commerce, heading up anything to do with membership to Somerset Chamber, been with them about 11 years, and yeah, loving it. So the event today is to run through the Quest benefit, and we're very lucky to have Steve Charles and Miles Day with us today to talk us through that. We will go through a presentation and then a demo of the actual Quest product shortly. Hopefully we'll have no technical hitches, but we'll address those as and when they may or may not come up. So a little bit of background. The Quest, the Somerset Chamber of Commerce is one of 53 accredited chambers to the British Chamber of Commerce. And because we're part of that group, we are able to utilise some of the centralised benefits that have been negotiated. So additional benefits beyond Quest also include AXA, Westfield Health, a roadside breakdown cover, so there's a 67% discount, for example, with that benefit. So if you're not utilising them, then let us know. We can have a further conversation. But there are, those have all been negotiated through our connection with the British Chamber of Commerce, and because the British Chamber is representing so many businesses. I'd like to quickly go around the room today so you guys can all say, hi, I am, and I work for this organisation. Once again, so everyone knows who's in the room, but also so Steve and Miles know who they're speaking to, and hopefully can tailor the conversation accordingly. Can I please start with Gemma, if that's okay?
Good morning, I'm Gemma Wilkes, and I'm from the local charity We Hear You.
Gemma. Georgina?
Hi, I'm Georgina Wilson, and I'm from Marsden Foods.
Well, if you want to give a tiny bit of information about what it is that Marsden Foods does, like everyone, just a tiny bit of information, a snippet, just to give them a little bit more.
We make handmade desserts for a whole range of supermarkets that you will have probably bought without realising, from lemon tarts to cookies.
Good.
Thank you. Mark Hurley.
Yeah, Mark Hurley from Impact Design and Marketing. As the name sounds, we're a design and marketing company based here in Taunton.
Thank you. Denise?
Sorry, I'm like, where's my unmute? I'm Denise, I'm from Lewis Brown Land Surveyors. We're based in Wellington, and as it says, we're a land surveying company, major building surveying company.
Thank you. Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm from Lendology CIC. We're a home finance company working in partnership with councils to provide access for finance for home repairs for people who are often excluded from the mainstream finance market. And we're based in Bradford-on-Tone, so between Wellington and Taunton, right slap bang in the middle, really.
Thank you. David?
Hi, this is my name is David Evans, my little supervisor. I own a company called Vinyl Value and make canopies for mobility scooters.
Thank you, David. Piers?
Hi, I'm Piers, Alpha Housing Services, block and estate management for blocks of flats and housing estates across Somerset.
Thank you. Jo Smith? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Jo Smith. I'm from Arcade Belt. We're a civil engineering and servicing company based in Bridgewater.
Thank you. Now, this is where we've got no cameras on here, so let's see who's listening in on the other end. Joe Tilley. Okay. Anthony Lay. And Gavin Roberts. Are any of you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Gavin. Yes, we can hear you, Gavin.
Morning, Jen. So I'm Gavin Roberts from Maxwell's Chartered Accountants. Apologies, no video. I can turn it on, but you'll see the back of one of my screens, which is not so exciting. So we'll turn that one off, and you can see my smiling face and stuff. So yeah, we're an accountancy firm covering full service accountancy, taxation, etc., audit, right the way across business services. We're based in Bridgewater, and yeah, we're more about sort of providing client service more than compliance, really. So yeah, that's where we sit.
Thank you, Kevin. And Anthony, do I see? Are you there?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we're a electrical mechanical engineering. We're based in Southwest Wales, and we fabricate steel items and supply labour to sites to construct equipment as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Anthony. I'll give it one more go. Joe, are you there? From Swimmers?
Hi
Right,
there. Yes, I am. Sorry, I had a bit of a
hello.
problem with my sound. So I've only just managed to get that working. My apologies. Yeah, I'm Joe Tilley. I'm Central Operations Manager for Swimmers Limited, and we are located at the Somerset Energy Innovation Centre in Bridgewater. And we provide government funding for manufacturing businesses. We also are working with the supply chain on the Hinkley project.
Brilliant, thank you. And thanks, I'm really pleased everyone is there. Okay, Steve, if you're happy to proceed, I shall share my presentation, if that's okay.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Myself and my colleague Miles up in, he's a mic there. Miles will be doing a presentation today just to tell you about one of the services that you've got as part of your membership of Somerset Chamber. So I'm going to give you a quick run through what the services actually are, and then I'll get Miles to spend a few minutes telling you about one specific element of it, which is one-to-one services, and also giving you a quick flash through the document libraries so you can see what they look like and how they work. So, right, the four services that are part of your membership. Quest, we are based in Leicester. We're part of a group of companies, Quest, Vantage, Rhino. Basically, all the services that we're going to talk about are provided by our own companies. We don't need to outsource anything, which is important in terms of a sort of seamless delivery. The Quest bit, we focus particularly on HR and health and safety side of things, but we also do the legal advice lines. We are the recommended supplier by the British Chambers of Commerce to the UK network. So of the 53 chambers that Jen just referred to, 46 of them have access to the services that we're going to talk about. And then there's another load of affiliated chambers. So there's like 61 chambers in the UK that have got access to these services. So it's a massive scheme. And that's why we resource it as we do. And it's all about giving you a premium service. Next one. So the objective is to try and make members of every chamber really aware of what is included in the services and to help you understand how they can benefit you. So that's why we like to do these events. It's about awareness. You need to understand what you've got access to. Next one, Jen. So in a nutshell, what you've got access to are 4 services: HR, health and safety, legal and tax, with 5 different advice lines: HR, health and safety, legal, tax and VAT. So the tax and VAT guys are different people. That's why there's 2 lines. You've got access to 3 document libraries: HR, health and safety and legal. They've got over 780 template documents, plus a load of information. So it's an important information hub as well. So there's a lot of information there across those 3 document libraries for you to download and to use. And you access it through that telephone number, 01455852037. And you can either enter it through the chamber site, and obviously that's the preferred route. If that's not working for you, you can go to chamberhr.co.uk, which is called the Chamber Index page, and you just need to scroll down. Unfortunately, you've got to get down to the S's because you've got to click on Somerset Chamber. You scroll down to Somerset Chamber, click on that and put your logins in. Every member has a set of unique logins. If you don't know what they are, contact the chamber and they'll tell you. Next one.
Just quickly, Steve, can I ask, are you happy for us to share these slides with people afterwards?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Saves people scribbling all those email addresses and telephone numbers down.
No, please send it around. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
So the most used of the 4 services is Chamber HR. What is it? Well, first and foremost, it's an employer-focused service, which means it's on the side of the employer because an employee can't use it against the member company. So it's there to defend you, the business. The advice line is available 365 days a year. You've got unlimited access, so you can phone as often as you want for as long as you need to. The advisors have all got over 20 years of experience. They sit on CIPD panels and employment tribunals. They're absolutely amazing. So you've got very experienced advisors, and it's not just simply that's what the law says, that's what you must do. It is at times it's very sort of consultative. So device lines are a really significant part of that. and they are supported by the document library. So you've got 460 or 470 employment documents. It says 466, I think it's gone up a bit. Nearly 470 template documents in the HR document library. They cover the whole life cycle of an employee, from recruiting somebody to exiting somebody in the business. Last year, there's a whole section was added on COVID with furlough letters and everything. So it's an absolutely amazing resource that you really need to go and investigate. And again, Miles will give you a glimpse of it shortly. There's a newsroom with articles in. There's a My Account area when you can store downloaded documents, so you don't have to keep going to find them again. And there's a free HR health check where you can just go on, do a very simple online check with about 11 questions. You get an instant answer about your compliance status. So that's what Chamber HR is, briefly. The next one, Jen. But the question is, how can it help you? And it can help you in many ways. It's there to help you manage problems. So if you get an issue with discipline, persistent absence, disability or grievances, dismissal, long-term sickness, any of those things, all those things that cause businesses all sorts of issues, they help you to manage problems. You can talk to people, you can download documents. It helps you to stay compliant because you can keep your contracts and your handbooks up to date. You know, if you have to do that yourself, but you can do that. It helps you to understand your responsibilities. You get a lot of information about changing legislation, supporting staff, holiday pay, maternity or paternity leave, allowances, annual leave, changes into hybrid working. If you've got any questions about that, you can make life better for your staff. You can phone up and you can ask questions. You've got the peace of mind of having experts at the end of the phone. Just a call away, you can speak to experts on HR or any of these subjects. And it could save you money. You know, part of the one-to-one reviews is which Miles will talk about in a minute, is, you know, do you need to be outsourcing things? If you are, you might not need to be paying anything because the service is very comprehensive. So, and the other thing is it's there to get answers. If you've got any questions about any topic, whether it's vaccinations or hybrid working or whatever, you can get the answers that you need by calling 01455 852 037. Option 1 is HR. So that's what HR is all about. Next one, Jen, is health and safety. Health and safety is all about compliance. Again, there's an advice line. It's an office hours advice line, but you can get advice on health and safety, talk about any problems that you've got. But the main thing is the health and safety document library, 138 template documents. All the core documents you need to be health and safety compliant are on there. Assessment and risk assessment forms, lone worker policies, except fire safety documents, and so on. You know, we urge, and Miles will tell you this later, you know, we urge all businesses, whatever field you're in, you must be health and safety compliant. It's really, really important because the fines of getting it wrong are hideous. There's a website with the newsroom, there's a My Account area again, and you get another free health and safety health check. So the health and safety service is all about compliance. Next one, Jen. And how can it help you? Well, first of all, it helps you stay compliant because you've got all these documents in the document library, helps you to manage problems such as accident management, incidents, and so on. Keep your staff safe. If you're a new start business, there's a whole section on getting started in health and safety. And again, it could potentially save money because if you're hard paying for some things, you might be able to get them from the document library. Next one is Chamber Legal. So Chamber Legal, again, advice line, unlimited access to really experienced HR advisors, and you've got a document library with 183 documents, contracts, checklists, guidance notes, all sorts of commercial documents on there. Fantastic resource. The advice line is probably the main thing because they can help people with contract disputes and debt recovery and landlord issues and stuff like that. So if you go to the next one, Jen, please, you can see there the benefits, managing problems. The big reasons that people call the illegal line is about contract disputes and landlord and tenant issues and debt recovery, but they can also advise on small claims court procedures and what you need to do and guide people through those kind of things as well. It's there to protect your business. It helps you to be, gives you all the legal requirements, such as partnership documents and company documents, all those things are in the document library. And it may save you money because you might not need to pay a solicitor to do things that are just basic stuff that you'll find in that document library or that can be resolved through advice. Next one. So Chamber Tax is the fourth service. It's a specialist advisory service. There's no documents with this, but you've got access to tax advisors and VAT advisors, and they can help you with a whole range of different things. Now, I would say that the tax service is a very well-resourced department. They also have some big schemes that they operate, nothing to do with the chambers, but most of the people that these guys advise are accountants. So these are specialists who advise accountants most of the time. So you know, they really know what they're talking about. So next one. Jen, cover the next slide. There you go. So if you've got any HMRC issues, or you're not sure, or any issues relating to tax or VAT, or any questions about it, you can call the tax advice line. They help you to manage your tax liability, benefits in kind, corporation tax, property income, stamp duty, benefits in kind, VAT exemptions, all this kind of stuff. You can get advice on it. You get help with the tax returns. The number one reason why people call the line is tax returns, help with tax returns. They can advise on international trade. So if you're doing any international trade, you can get advice from them on recovery of foreign VAT, EU reverse charge mechanisms, and all these kind of things that I have no idea what they are, but they all sound great. And they can help you with that. And again, it might save you money. You may not need to pay an accountant for some advice, but it's not really there to replace an accountant. It's just there because most of their business is supporting accountants. But you know, you may be able to do things yourself if you get the right advice on it. Next one. So the one-to-one services, I'm not going to talk in any detail about because Miles will talk about that, but it's a really important service that's absolutely free, and it's part of the HR and health and safety services. Just go on to the next one, Jen, please. And the employee defence services, if you are involved in an employment tribunal, if you've got a serious issue, there's a whole range of services that we can help you with. That is, you've got free advice, you've got free documents, and if you need something more than that, if you can't resolve it with the advice and the documents, there's conciliation services that we can do with a company through ACAS. If you need to settle to avoid a tribunal, you can do a settlement agreement, which is a legal document. There's a price to pay for those, like the settlement agreements, for example, of £450, but they're just like a sort of an additional service. So basically, if you have an employment tribunal, you're not on your own, and we can help you all the way through it if you need it, or obviously, or you can use a local company or whatever. But a full range of services are available to help you if you get embroiled in an employment tribunal, and if you've ever been involved in one, they are a complete nightmare. So it's great to have somebody to help. Next one. And then just finally, in summary, you've got 4 services, 5 advice lines, 3 document libraries. It's included in the membership fee. You have nothing extra to pay because the chamber invests in the services, so you have free access. It's unlimited. No, you can call or download as much as you want. It's got a high value. You know, the advice lines and the documents, you're looking at £750 to £1,000 worth of service if you went out to buy something as extensive as that. There's extensive benefits to you. We've run through very quickly about managing problems and supporting your staff and staying compliant. There's a whole range of different benefits. You know, please be aware of those. A key difference between this and other advice lines you may have access to is that you also get the document libraries, which Miles will show you in a minute. And you've got the free one-to-one services that Miles will talk about in a minute, any second. You've got a full range of health, HR and health and safety services if you need them. So, you know, please be aware that if you have any problems or any questions on any of those 4 top subjects, please call the advice line in the first instance and get some advice and get some support. I think is that it then, Jen?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then that's you. Brilliant.
Now,
Okay.
over to
Miles
you.
is up. Right. I'm going to try and stop sharing. This is the technical bit now. Stop sharing to get to another screen. Pass it over to Miles. We found just before the call that Miles's sharing option didn't work, so we had to find a way around it. There's always a way around it. We just had to find it. So let's share this again. Just a quick note there. When we agreed to take this benefit on behalf of you guys and pay the additional subscription for it, we were concerned that actually we'd be taking away work from local suppliers, local businesses, if you needed anything over and above the document library. So the agreement that we came to with Steve and his team was that actually if any of you guys said to them, you know what, we now need that additional service, you know, what's the cost, what's the charge, Steve will come to us and say, right, is, you know, this person's asking for an additional service, is there a local supplier that can help them, is there a local option, so that when we can then go back to you and say, right, there is a local company that can do this, that is a member of the Somerset Chamber, if you need them, here's a choice. So that is something we have put in place, very aware that we didn't want to pull work away from the area. Okay, right, let's see if I can get this sharing now. Sharing.
While you're doing that, Miles, do you want to talk about the one-to-one services then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the one-to-one service was brought in around 2 years ago. It's been very popular, and it's very simple. It outlines it gives you an opportunity to go through what you've just heard before, because there's a lot to take in today. So we look at what's included in the chamber offering. We go through that again. We also, that's the sort of the discover element. We most importantly, we do a review. So we look at where you're at from a contracts of employment point of view, how old they are. We also talk about your handbook, and again, how aged it is, relevant legislation that may have come in, or case law that may have come in during that period. And on the health and safety side, where you are at from a compliance point of view. So do you have your what we call bylaw documents, your policies, your organisation arrangements? Are you completing necessary risk assessments? Do you offer staff training? Do you have a competent person? So those are the kind of areas that we cover in the one-to-one review. It takes between 20 and probably about 30, between 30 and 40 minutes. And another element is the compare. So you can compare what you currently have in place at the moment with what you get as part of your chamber membership, because as Steve says on the slides all the way through, there may be savings to be made by using chamber HR, chamber health and safety, instead of outsourcing. It's something that's very popular and used throughout the UK. We encourage people to get in touch with the advice lines as soon as possible, and as early as possible in the process. Everything that we've talked about is very reactionary, just asking for you guys to pick up the phone, go into the document library. The one-to-one review is the proactive element, and it's really to try and help you future-proof your business. So to prevent the HSE ever needing to get involved, or if they do get involved with your business, that you've built up your necessary mitigation against prosecution, and also from a HR point of view, making sure that if somebody is looking to take you to tribunal, or you're having difficulties with an employee, you've followed all the correct processes, and you have all the correct documentation in place to make it a spurious claim. And that's in essence what the one-to-one review is all about. With regards to the document library, are we there, Jen? Am I in control?
We are. Hopefully you can control it now.
Let's have a look.
That's not me, so that's you. Yep.
That me?
So every chamber, every member of the Somerset Chamber, when they first join, would have been given a temporary password for Quest, and then subsequently, once paid, would have been sent their permanent password for Quest. So you should have this. If you don't, then let me know at the end, and I can ping you an email with all the contact details, with all your login details.
Exactly, that's exactly right. And as Steve said, you can either log in via the chamber website, or you can log in via www.chamberhr.co.uk. There is an awful lot of documentation in here, and also a lot of advice. So it's not just about giving you a document and saying carry on, there you go. There's also advice. So if we just go into contracts of employment.
Oh no. That means I've got to find the password again. That's an idea, isn't it?
Don't worry. To a certain degree, I can talk us through it. So in essence, what you've got is a full employment life cycle. So you've got from induction at the front end, making sure that you're not discriminating at interview, all the way through to what I call the core documents that you may use, things like back to works if somebody's gone off sick, especially relevant to that at the moment. COVID, there's a COVID section in there which gives you guidance on latest rules and legislation, which is constantly changing, and we're constantly updating it. And then all the way through to potential dismissal if you needed to exit an employee.
You're back in now, Miles, if you need it.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely fine. So as you can see, you've got different areas of types of working, and it gives you details on those areas of working. So if we go into fixed term contracts, if it's working slowly, there you go. It's not letting me scroll up and down. There you go. It'll give you information about what a fixed term contract is. It may be that you've had somebody approach you and say, I'd like a fixed term contract. What does that actually look like? What are your responsibilities? Designed very much to work in conjunction with the advice line. So very often an advisor will say, okay, this is the document. For example, the back to work, we've had somebody go off sick. What do I need to do? Okay, prior to them returning to work, you need to issue a back to work document, get it signed to make sure they're not on any medication or it's safe for them to return to work. You'll be able to click into that and go through that, and they'll tell you that the document's in the document library and where it is. And as you can see, you've also got exit management. So if we skip quickly to exit management and we look at retirement, which we're all, I'm sure, very excited about at some point in the near future. Some sooner than others. But there's a retirement management guide, and there's also retirement policy. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to cover as many bases as we can. It's a very broad church because we deal with so many different businesses, but there's always a document that's relevant to a situation you're currently dealing with. If you want something more specific, then obviously you can contact the chamber with regards to getting somebody to maybe draft that for you. So the health and safety library is probably the most used of the document libraries. Funnily enough, there's more activity within the document library than there is calls to the advice line. Not quite sure why. But as you can see, you've got getting started section. You've also got health and safety policy. So basic policy, what we call the bylaw documents. There's also risk assessments for you to use. Again, it's a very broad church because it has to be, because by definition, 1 minute it's a hairdressers who are looking into the document library, the next minute it's a construction company, distribution business. So we try to keep it as broad as possible. But these are the kind of areas that you can get information on. You can also get documents for. And I'm now going to go into a library that I don't go into very often, so you have to bear with me because this is the legal. If I take you into the legal section, again, all templated documents and covering a wide range of topics from debt recovery to insurance. There's also standard business letters in there, all regularly updated. The great thing about the document library is whenever there's legislation or case law that pertains to any issues on the HR side, HSE regulations change, it's regularly updated, and on the legal side, our sister company Vantage Legal regularly update the documents within the system. One thing I would say about the service in general, it's a high value service that comes as part of your membership. This level of support that you get from us can only be delivered as part of a membership because of the size of the British Chamber of Commerce and the fact that Somerset have taken up the option to use us. Please, as a chamber member, this is the place to go first. Even if you go off and use somebody local who you used before, this is a really good sense check of the information you've been given from other sources. And it's also, especially on the tax and the VAT side, that tends to be what it gets used for an awful lot. And the same with the legal, certainly on the legal advice line, first port of call, give those guys a call. They'll be able to give you good solid advice at the initial point. And then if you can go on the journey without spending any money as a business, the advice lines will always try to help you so that ideally you solve your issues within the service. Thanks, Jen. I hope that covered pretty much everything for you.
Thank you. Right. I'm going to stop sharing. Actually, whilst this is still up on screen, does anybody have any questions about what we're seeing here at the moment? Want Miles to delve any deeper at all into anything here? feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like. Oh, this is weird because I've got two people trying to control the screen.
I've stopped.
Get off my mouse. I will stop sharing just here then, so everyone can see me in theory. So does anybody have any questions for Steve or Charles?
Hiya. Hiya. I've got a quick question. We are, or I am, at the point where I have nearly finished our first contract draft and handbook draft. So if we're at that position, is there someone at Quest who would read over and check and point us in the right direction? So I don't obviously need to start again, but I haven't finished.
Yeah, the service that you have access to is an advisory service. If you need a written document reviewing, obviously they can do that, but there would be a nominal charge for it because it's just it's basically it's an advisory service. So and but I mean obviously they're very capable of doing that and they're very happy to do it, but it depends how if it's not a big document, it won't take them very long, you know, so it'd just be and just depends how long it's going to take.
Georgina, that'd be one of those circumstances that if you came with Steve or his team and said, can you review this? He'd say, yeah, absolutely. Here's our price for it. The Somerset Chamber also has some local people, and then we would come to you saying, right, these people also do this in your area, for your geographical area. You know, would you like introductions to them to have a local person as well? So we always like to feed it back locally. And Deborah, I know you've just recently asked the question via email. We like to feed it back into our membership where we can from that point of view.
Perfect. Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, if you contacted us about that, I'd just get back in touch with Jen, and then we just go through a slightly different process with you. Then it's fine. So.
I think we made it quite awkward for Steve and the team because but we did say make sure it comes back to us. So yes, we've been quite strict on that side of things.
It's all right. I mean, I would say on the legal side, particularly if members need additional legal services, the Chamber Legal is a signposting service. Really, it's an advisory service. So if members, like if you phone up and you've got a problem around intellectual property or commercial litigation or something like that, property litigation, just the law can be so specialised that we would then say you need this kind of solicitor or you need this kind of specialist. And obviously in those cases, we just come straight back to Jen and you can find a local solicitor that can do it. So on the legal side, particularly, I mean, reading a contract document is easy, but on the legal side, it gets a lot more complicated.
I think if I can just get there, Quest is by definition very much a needs-based business. Yes. You know, effectively, we are getting paid already for supporting you guys. Yes. And that's the priority for us as a business, is to support the Chamber network and these other associations that we look after. If people have a need, we're open. You know, we are a business, but it's not our priority with Chamber members. It's about support and making sure that we're there for you. And I just wanted to interject that because sometimes that can get a little bit lost.
Yes, indeed.
Does anybody else have a question at all?
If I can just ask a quick question. We currently use an HR advisor, and they regularly send us through sort of update notifications. I note that Miles said that obviously all the documents and that are updated on the database, but obviously there'd be a lot of stuff to have to wade through and see what's new. Do you have like a regular notification? Because the HR people we use come and say, oh, this is something you ought to be aware of, it's changed, you know, come and read this article. Is there something similar that Quest would do that we could at least see?
Well, if you have an upgraded service with us, I think, Mars, that would be part of that service, just like you're paying that HR advisor for that, and that's part of it, and that would be the same with us. I think in terms of generally advising everybody, because there's, you know, we've got nearly 100,000 members of different organisations as part of the scheme. The updates go out to the Chamber through newsletters, and the documents are updated. But yeah, I mean, what you have there is a personal service, isn't it? And so you can get that, but it's not.
There's never, if you were to log into the screen, Steve, there wouldn't ever be just a quick couple of lines at the top of the page to say recently updated documents or anything like that. There's nothing within the actual library itself that mentioned that.
No, not.
Okay. I mean, just as an example, Steve, what it was is recently we had one that's just said, oh, Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, has announced changes to the statutory sick pay rules.
Yes.
You know, if you're interested, if this interests you as a business, because it's a general email newsletter went out to all of their clients, you know, click on this and we'll tell you more. So it was that sort of thing that you could think, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me, or that does apply, you know, it does apply, I'm interested. And you read through the article, then you get through to the, you know, the change in the tax rules.
Well, funnily, we haven't historically done that, but it's funny you should mention it, because I'm hoping today to finalize a sort of a Q&A newsletter, which is, and a chunk of that is about changes to statutory sick pay, which I'll be sending out to all the chambers today or tomorrow, hopefully, for them to circulate to members. And what it's basically going to say, that and various other issues. If you have a problem with this issue, statutory sick pay, whether it be vaccinations, whether it be hybrid working, call the advice line. You know, it's basically highlighting the kind of what are the hot topics, what are people calling the advice lines about, and if you've got major legislation changes, obviously that is an issue. So we're trying to notify all the partners, all the chambers we've got, of these key things, in the hope that they'll sort of notify members. But obviously we don't ever notify members directly, because we're not here for that. We want to do that.
Perhaps Mark, perhaps Steve and I can have a chat about how we can get potentially a sign-up link embedded into some of our emails to say, you know, for all latest Quest updates, click here. So then you can actually subscribe yourself, if you wanted to subscribe yourself to any new e-alerts about that. But perhaps Steve and I can have a chat about that and see how we can get more information flowing out to our members. Yeah, happy to do that.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Any more questions, or perhaps Denise, you know, some feedback on the service and use of the service? I know, I believe Lewis Brown have used it in the past.
I use the health and safety library all the time, literally all the time, for documents. I've also used the HR one on a couple of occasions because we've had 2 new starters. So making sure that we've got all the right things in their files, etc. So I know I find it really useful. We are CHAS accredited, so SSIP accredited, and with that we had to regularly update risk assessments and things like that, and I got all that information from Quest, and yeah, we've just recently passed that, so that's brilliant, and I don't think we would have without the help of the document library.
Oh, superb, thank you.
Denise, when I'm doing presentations to other chambers, do you think you could join?
More than happy.
Does anybody else have a question at all for Steve, Miles, or even Denise? I'm now volunteering her about the service at all. Nope.
Yeah, I've got a quick question, Jen, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll start the video. I'm interested. What sorts of things would you ring the VAT helpline for, or the tax line for?
Well, there is a booklet that Jen, if you could send Mark Piers rather a copy of the handbook. We have a document called a handbook, and that gives you an idea of all the things that you can call the different advice lines about. And I've got one here in front of me. It's only a PDF. It's a PDF document. I happen to have a printed version here. But it says, so these are the sort of things that you could potentially call the tax line about. Treatment of benefits in kind, corporation tax calculations, liabilities to capital gains tax, property income and expenses, residency status, remittance based on foreign income, stamp duty and land tax liabilities, travel and subsistence costs, inheritance tax and estates, HMRC inquiries, investigations and penalties. And on VAT, you've got VAT and tax returns, VAT registration, EU reverse charge mechanisms, place of supply rules, partial exemption, VAT on land and property, VAT rates on output services, and recovery of foreign VAT, as an example. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, that's useful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so basically, you can call that any sort of tax or VAT related issue. But yeah, maybe Jen, if you could send that handbook out to obviously everybody that's, as well as
Definitely.
the point, send it out to everybody that's here, because it gives a really good lot of detail about what's included.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll send that out in the follow-up email to this event. We'll actually send out the handbook. I'll just double check that I've got the most up-to-date one, Steve, when we finish the call. But it will give you a list of that information. And Piers, always feel free just to log on and just have a play with the library as well. Just kind of have a click around, have a play with that. And actually, whoever else in the organisation it may be, responsibility of as well. Feel free. David, unmute yourself.
Yeah, how do I go about booking a health and safety check? I'd rather just, I could do getting one just to be safe. So how can I do that for my business?
Miles, do you want, well,
yeah. Hi, yeah. Just drop me an email. Just drop me an email, and we'll book something in. It takes via Teams. Takes about 30 minutes, and we'll just do a gap.
I'll send you the details now.
Brilliant, that's great. I'll get in touch with you afterwards, and we'll get you one-to-one booked in. And then anybody else, it's a really good way of just checking where you're at as a business, and it's part of your membership. And like I say, we're much needs based, so we'll be able to sort of go through where you're at now and hopefully where you want to get to, and where you should be hopefully moving forward. But yeah,
I've got no massive concerns, but I'd rather just it's safe than sorry. Come in, everything's fine, rather than no, who's going to fall in, we're going to die. Don't want that.
We will also share Steve and Miles's email address if they're okay with that in the follow-up email as well. So you'll have everything possible to hand that you'll need. Joe, you've got your hand up.
Just a quick question for you, Jen. Are you able to provide login details? Are you able to email those over to me so that I can gain access?
Of course I can, yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody else require their login details to be resent over to them?
Yep, if you could for me as well, please.
Okay.
Hi, is it possible to have more than one login? Because it's not my name that's down as the member, but obviously I don't want to be logging in under someone else's password.
So there's one log-on per organisation.
So do I end up with my own login?
So yours, it's not under your name, it's under Leona's, because she was the primary point of contact that's registered for the membership side of things. But anybody in the organisation can use that log on.
Okay, brilliant.
All right. Denise? You're muted, Denise.
I know I didn't have a question.
I see. It's a thumbs up, not a hands up. I do apologise.
I didn't even know that happened. How did that happen?
Does anybody else have a question or require their login details to be sent to them? Excellent. Well, if that's everything, I'd just like to thank Steve and Miles for their time today and walking us through the benefit. I think, as you can see, it's a really, really valuable resource to any organisation. If you need any more information, like I said, we will share the handbook and Steve and Miles's email address in the email that goes out following this. And then also you've got mine and Sally's details as well. Feel free to always kind of pick up the phone or drop us an email. We'll answer any questions that you may have. But that's all from us for now, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. But thank you ever so much for joining us today.